All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:30. The school committee may seek to convene open session and recess to executive session for discussion and/or action regarding those items of business exempt from open meetings under Rhode Island General Law 42464. And A, discussion pending litigation Perillo versus South Kingstown School Department, PC 2022-00700. Rhode Island General Law 42465A2. And B, discussion, terms of initial contract negotiation. Chief Financial Officer, Rhode Island General Law 42465A1. C, discussion, terms of renewal contract negotiation. Principal of South Kingstown High School, Rhode Island General Law 42465A1. Discussion, terms of renewal contract negotiation. Assistant Principal of South Kingstown High School, same Rhode Island General Law. E, discussion, terms of renewal contract negotiation. Director of Technology, same Rhode Island General Law. Discussion, terms of renewal contract negotiation. Network Systems Administrator, same Rhode Island General Law. Discussion, terms of renewal contract negotiation. Data Quality Manager, same Rhode Island General Law. H, discussion, contract negotiation. Council 94, Rhode Island General Law 42465A2. Discussion action, investigation, coach, Rhode Island General Law 42465A4. And J, discussion action, superintendent evaluation, Rhode Island General Law 42465A1. Individuals have been notified, including the right to have any discussion held in open session.
I'll make a motion to recess to executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:02 PM. First, we'll do the roll call. Stuart Lander,
Here.
Brad Shear,
Here.
Paula Whitford, Michelle Brousseau,
Here.
Kate Mansanati,
Here.
James Restivo,
Here.
and I, Carol Vetter, here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I apologize for the missing flag. Can I have a motion to seal the minutes of the executive session?
I'll make a motion to seal the minutes of the executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There were no votes taken in executive session. And now I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent for celebrations and recognitions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the committee would be so kind as to join us out front. It is a special recognition and as we enter June. At the second, or so far this school year, the second meeting of the South Kingstown School Department has done student recognitions. However, now in June, it is my pleasure to recognize just a few of those who make those student recognitions possible. I would also, before we get started, like to recognize our principals who will come up and discuss the honorees today. However, we have some principals could not be with us, but for those presenting today from Matunic Elementary, Principal Elizabeth McGuire, from Peacedale Elementary, Jonathan Rapport, from Broad Rock Middle School, Miss Gina Haberlin, from West Kingston Elementary, Dr. Ryan Borden, and from South Kingstown High School, Angelina Christina. So at this time, I would ask Principal McGuire to please come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Liz McGuire, and I'm the principal at Matunic Elementary School. Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing someone whose work has quietly but powerfully shaped the culture of our school, Julie Marola, our school social worker. For the past 5 years here at Matunic and 10 in the district, Julie has been a steady, compassionate presence. Her ability to connect with students, no matter their age, needs, or what kind of day they're having, is something I deeply respect. She meets kids where they are and helps the rest of us do the same. Julie has been instrumental to supporting students and families through challenges that are big and small, from coordinating care with hospitals and outside providers to making sure that groceries or formula made it to the homes that needed it. She's helped students in crisis find stability and helped staff respond with care and clarity. One quote Julie shared with me captures her approach perfectly. It's Umbuto. How can one of us be happy if all the other ones are sad? It's an African philosophy meaning I am because we are, that people are defined by others, that true happiness is a shared collective experience. Her work has truly embodied that belief. Julie, thank you for the impact you've made, for the compassion, consistency, and the community that you've built around you. May everything that you have given to others be returned to you.
Now, principal report.
Not to clap for me, I'm not retiring. Tonight I have the honor of recognizing Mrs. Valerie Gagnon, who I've worked with actually twice in the district. First at the high school, she was in the main office, and if anyone worked at the high school at that time, they understand just how vital she was to the high school in handling anything that was going on student activity wise and basically covering any role at any time. Versatile as anybody in the whole building and knew just about everything that was going on at all the times. I was lucky enough when I went to Peacedale that Val came and followed me. It was really important for me to get started at a new school, to have someone who I knew and trusted right off the bat. We were both kind of learning those jobs at the same time on the fly, and we just made it happen. I'm just so thankful for my time that I've worked with Val, and congratulations on your retirement. You deserve it. Come on up, Val.
Now, Ms. Gina Haberlin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gina Haberlin, one of the assistant principals at Broad Rock, and it is my privilege to recognize and celebrate the retirement of our outstanding school nurse teacher at Broad Rock, Mrs. Sharon Pine. Sharon has worked helping others as a nurse for the past 40 years and has dedicated her life to supporting and helping students, families, and staff as a school nurse teacher for the past 24 years in South Kingstown. While Nurse Pine has spent most of her time working with middle school students and staff at Broad Rock and Curtis Corner, she has also worked at every school in South Kingstown, including SKIP and the former Independent Transition Academy, working with 18 to 21-year-old students. Nurse Pine is currently the South Kingstown District Nurse Coordinator and has also been the SK Coordinator for over the last 10 years. Before Nurse Pine became a school nurse teacher, she worked as a nurse for many years in an inner city emergency room. When asked why she decided to become a school nurse teacher, she explained that she has always been interested in the health aspect of schools and health curriculum. She enjoyed teaching health classes and life skills to 18 to 21-year-old students at the Independent Transition Academy, where she created the Healthy Lifestyles curriculum. In addition to helping students stay safe and healthy, Nurse Pine enjoys spending time with friends and going to the beach. In 2023, Nurse Pine was named the Rhode Island School Nurse Teacher by the Year by RICSNTA. I'll have to ask you about that one. A highly distinguished honor and recognition, especially following the pandemic. During the pandemic, Nurse Pine worked tirelessly to ensure the safety of all our students and staff. And when we returned to school in person, it was a frightening and challenging time that she assisted us with. Nurse Pine has made a tremendous positive impact at every school in our district. She is very well respected and appreciated by staff at each school, and she will be deeply missed. We are so grateful for her hard work, dedication, professionalism, leadership, and her sense of humor. Congratulations on your retirement, Mrs. Pine.
Now from South Kingstown High School, Angela Christine.
Good evening. I'm Angela Christina. I'm the assistant principal at the high school, and I actually have four people to recognize tonight. They are all so deserving of everything that you will hear about them in just a second. So I thought I was going to do this a little bit differently and kind of put them on the spot too, just so you can kind of put a face to a name. So I think I'll start with the two retirees, and then we'll go to the awardees after that. So Christy Surratt, could you come up here so I can talk about you? So Christy joined SKHS 2 years ago after being in the district for over 20 years as our school social worker, and instantly became an integral part of our school community. She's focused on what students need to be successful and is a fierce advocate for them. Yet she also holds students accountable for their actions and efforts. Parents, guardians, administrators, teachers, and staff respect her supportive approach. Christy will be missed greatly, but we wish her all the best in her retirement. Congratulations, Chris. Okay, next one up, Miss Regina Trinkwald. Can you please come up here? Regina joined South Kingstown High School in the summer of 2020 as an administrative specialist after being in the district for 30 years. She brought her years of experience to SKHS from Wakefield Elementary School and had an immediate impact on everyone at the high school. Her cheery disposition was always infectious, and as a result, people always came to her, myself included, when you needed to laugh or smile. Regina retired at the turn of the new year, and her tan from Florida. And while we do miss her, we know that she's loving her retirement. Congratulations, Regina.
Now we will shift to some both local and state recognitions.
All right. So we'll have Miss Kate Bubrick come up first, please. Kate has a student's first approach to teaching. She's an exemplary instructor and has taught classes of varying student need from intervention to AP mathematics. She is also a reflective practitioner in every way. She is the ideal teacher to be a finalist for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching. And we had a big celebration for her last week with all of the kids hooting and hollering her name. So I was fabulous. And not only is she up for that award, the finalist for that, but she is also been selected as the South Kingstown Teacher of the Year, and there's no one better for that. So congratulations, Kate. And then we have Mr. Brandon Pierce. Come on up, please. Brandon had a big recognition as well at the State House a few weeks back. I saw some wonderful pictures. Everyone was looking nice there. So Brandon has an expertise and passion for teaching civics, social studies, and American government. He is focused on providing students with a robust civic education that contributes to the public good. His enthusiasm and ability to inspire students has led to an increase, and we talk about this all the time when we're doing scheduling, an increase in AP US history sections despite our declining enrollment. That says a lot. It really does. He is a well-deserved winner of the Rhode Island Civics Teacher of the Year Award. Congratulations, Brandon.
And that concludes tonight's recognitions. One round of applause for all of tonight. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is comments from the community.
All right, so we do have one entry on the comments from community, but I do apologize. I can't quite read the handwriting, but it is a club from the high school. Interact Club, okay, Interact Club, please. I just didn't want to get the name wrong, so.
Good evening, school committee members and other folks that are here. My name is Sam Cato. I'm the president of the Interact Club. It's the youth wing of the Rotary Club.
I'm Emma Lanning. I'm the vice president.
And we're here to ask formal permission to host a fundraising event next year at the high school. And Emma can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically what we would be doing, it's like a theater intensive workshop for kids in elementary school. It would be September 20th and 21st, Saturday and Sunday. And it's going to be, I think we said 9 to 3:30. And what we would be doing is we'd be doing singing, dancing, and acting lessons. We already have it all planned up. We'd be doing Matilda. We have choreography, we have lyrics, we have music. I think we also would be doing scenes from other musicals and plays. And again, this would be a fundraiser. I think that's about it.
So there's a fundraising form to fill out and submit, and then we'll get you on the agenda. We can't approve it till you're on our agenda, but it sounds great. I'm super excited, and thank you guys for doing such good work on a project like that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll make sure that you get the necessary materials and everything. So, we'll make sure that a principal or somebody gets you the form. Or the people sitting right in front of you probably might have it. But we'll make sure that you have it, and then, just you submit it to these guys sitting way over there, and we'll get you on the agenda. So, but yeah. We'll definitely make sure that we get it on a agenda very soon for you. Does anybody else wish to speak? With that, we're going to close public comment. Next up is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up is superintendent report. So I will pass that to the superintendent.
Make a motion to move item 6A from the school committee business ahead of the superintendent's report.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move to 6A, but I'm going to also turn that over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. I am pleased to bring before you Mr. Matthew LaValle, who is here with us as South Kingstown's or the candidate to serve as South Kingstown's next chief financial officer. Mr. LaValle holds a master's degree in education with a focus on higher education finance and administration from the University of Pennsylvania. However, there's the good part is here, a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Rhode Island. There you go. So his experience encompasses payroll management, budgeting, auditing, capital planning, and state and federal reporting. I'm thrilled to offer Mr. LaValle this position and welcome him to South Kingstown School District as our new CFO. He has an extensive background, as I said, in both educational and municipal finance, and has a unique perspective that I believe will continue to strengthen our district's fiscal stewardship and strategic planning moving forward. He's successfully managed complex budgets across both Narragansett school system and municipal government. He fully understands the critical balance between maintaining fiscal responsibility and investing in the resources that our students and educators need to excel. He has proven expertise in financial oversight, budget development, and long-range planning. Long-range, long-term, right? And he will be instrumental as we continue advancing our mission to provide exceptional educational opportunities for each and every student in South Kingstown. And so I bring his contract before you, and he is here today.
Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were gonna.
Go ahead, if you have a
Okay.
motion.
Yeah. Okay.
We're super
I'm so
excited.
excited. I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract as presented to us for our chief financial officer.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Welcome, Matthew LaValle.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you, school committee and administration. I really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me here. And I'm truly honored to be joining the district as CFO. As a South Kingstown graduate, I feel like this is a special opportunity to give back to the community that shaped me. I'm excited to get to work and support our schools. Yeah, that'd be great.
Man of few words. I like it.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. So, and we're super excited that you'll be starting on July 7th. So great news. Okay, we're going to go back to the superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next slide, please. Our personnel action. Before you, we have a retirement and a resignation, one of which was here today, Sharon Pine. But also we have the resignation of Stacy Zamperini, PE health teacher at South Kingstown High School. Next slide, please. So as we draw this school year to a close, I did want to keep the committee apprised, although we don't have final numbers yet. I do want to once again make an appeal to the community as well as make the committee aware of what we are doing in terms of making sure that we have accurate numbers as soon as possible. We continue to push registration. My thanks to Mr. Lonergan, as well as all of the building administrators for the communications with their families, both current and future. So we are continuing to make the push for immediate kindergarten registration. It is not register early time anymore. It is register before it's too late time, or register while you can. Of course, it is always open, but the more that we can, or the quicker we can get accurate, the better we can allocate those resources. We are continuing to encourage families to update any changes in status, whether that be out migration in terms of moving to different communities or different schools. We are also starting to hear, because we've started to implement the policy, the residency policy that we changed in order to confirm that people still live in town or for charter, CTE, and homeschool families. That went out in the superintendent's updates and also, again, from each school level. And I'm also pleased to report that acceptance letters have gone out from South Kingstown High School, and that we are starting to get students from outside, both our local community and our outside communities, who are declaring their intent. And we are already exceeding this current year's numbers. So we'll continue that trend. So welcome to our out-of-district rebels who will be joining us next year. Next slide, please. Just a reminder that, again, we continue currently, or why this is important. We need to know both that in-migration and that out-migration, so that especially at the elementary level, that we can deploy the correct teaching sections. We need our families to let us know so that we can not only deploy resources, but the ultimate resource, those who were here that we recognize this evening, are educators, and make sure that we have the proper amount, both contractually and pedagogically. We are still, next slide. We are still facing, this is good, bad news. We are still facing pressure in some of our elementary sections, especially those that earlier in the year were part of the fiscal consolidation for FY 26, where we are currently with new registrations and returning to homeschools. We are currently at contractual caps, which that means we need to make decisions more than likely by the close of July, once we have families that have communicated to us, which if we are going to open new sections or if we are going to begin to transport students to different home schools. So once again, to those in the community who are watching, again, if you are joining us, welcome, and please let us know as soon as possible. If you are departing us, please let us know, because there are people who are eagerly awaiting to their place in all of our schools throughout the district.
If you don't mind,
Please.
My concern would be that we would transport students first versus opening up a new classroom because of financial constraints. And I would hate to see that happen. And I would rather, I don't know what the process is because we've not experienced this to date. With this group, I'm curious if we would be better off proactively going to the town and saying, we have these two options. What's best for our children is to ask for more money and open sections, not transport them across town. And while, yes, I believe we need to have a longer term solution, because I don't think this is a one-off. Though anecdotal, it's only been 1 year, it's only projecting towards 1 year. I would rather us be proactive and kind of keep our students where they belong and ask the town. They've told us many times to come back. So this to me, but I guess the process is how do we do that? And what is our window of opportunity to do that?
I just want to concur, jump on, because yes, I think there are important milestones for children that are embedded in this, and keeping siblings together is one of them. Keeping kids with the kids in their neighborhood is another. These are very important for our students and parents. I think we need some hard numbers, maybe a budget subcommittee. We get the numbers and then we get on the agenda with the town and go in with the ask. But I think that we need the numbers. So I'm going to ask you to call a subcommittee for the budget. All right, does that make sense?
It does. And so, making sure that we have a CFO in place is number one, long-term
Your
CFO,
first
as
task.
well as immediate, as well as there are some end of year letters that are going out, as well as others who have appeals for a variety of reasons that have already come in. So in terms of making sure that we have all of our end of the year letters that have gone out and been given ample time, as well as making sure that we can, once we do go to the town, have an accurate our most accurate estimate of what our FY 25 looked like. And so that we can talk about closing FY 25 and what we expect pre-audit, and going in with those numbers, and go in with definitives, as well as because there are some sections that I put that out there, but then there are others that register early, where we have some that have registered and we are now at that cap, and we would expect, or generally we see some exit. We also have some where we expect more registrations to come in and they haven't happened yet. Historically, they do happen. And so presenting so giving a full accounting, what I don't want to do is while there's demand here, I don't want to bring up something but that's lower. Can't we move this over here? And ultimately say, well, we're not at that place yet. So that's what I want to make sure, that we have an accurate accounting of FY 25, as well as make keep on making the push throughout this month. And actually it'll be throughout the summer to make sure that happens. But I definitely think that a subcommittee meeting is appropriate, but I'm not in a place where I can come forward and confidently say, here's a full accounting of we've got some outliers in both situations, now the most pressing outliers are those with registrations that are capped full. And we do want to make sure that we communicate to those families early and often, or the earlier the better, because additionally, we don't want others to potentially get discouraged that say, well, wait a minute. Oh, I heard already that even if I come to register, or if we do come back, we're not going to be placed. And so I would much rather have us invest and have, in that personnel rather than in that transportation, although our transportation does a great job. But I'd rather keep kids in their home schools, but definitely have a final accounting of that.
I think we start the process though.
Absolutely.
In case we need to do it, we're ready. But I do want to make sure we keep the students' needs at the forefront of everything, and because it shouldn't be about dollars, it should be about students. So yeah, I think we've got a process. It won't be rushed, but we need to start it.
Thank you. Oh. Sorry.
Mr. Pedraza, in your time in administrative positions, can you talk to us about, like, I know it's the middle of June, and when do you anticipate from past years' actions, that we might have numbers that are closer to final numbers? Or is that something, yeah, Michelle, there you are again in that dream world?
Well, I wouldn't say the latter, but closer to the latter. Because in that, from what I've learned in terms of registration from the community, so certain schools, because Peacedale has the pre-K, so we know, and so depending on where our students in pre-K, what their home addresses are, we can make a predictor. We can tell which, based on those addresses, and have those folks registered already, or have they not registered? We also, I meet obviously with the principals, and our principals having conversations of, their knowledge of the families, going, hey, do you see them on the list? I know they've got a student who's coming up, or so-and-so has so it's a pretty fluid process. Unfortunately, at the secondary level, people like to hold it close to the vest because, crazy enough, teenagers change their minds. And so, they might think or might say that they're going somewhere else, but then choose not to. And so they hold that spot. And so unfortunately, we don't get at the high school level until the first day of school or afterwards. But we have more flexibility at the high school level, obviously, because of electives and a multitude of teachers, where at the elementary, we do not. So it varies. Sorry, long way around the barn.
I would agree with Ms. Massananti and Ms. Vetter that I think we would be better off to look towards not transporting these young people. And I'm fully and acutely aware of the high school, middle school situation, or go somewhere for 2 days and decide they want to go back. Yeah, I know that.
Always welcome.
I know that game.
And always welcome.
They're always welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So with the close of the school year comes some more learning. So we are, now that a decision has been made, or actually the status of the Broad Rock roof has been assessed, and we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. We are fully ready to deploy our summer learning. We have credit recovery taking place here at the high school. We have ESY, or extended school year, grades K through 12 taking place at Broad Rock. But the transition academy will continue to take place at Hazard. And we continue to partner through the Learn 365 initiative and partnership with the Johnny Cake Center, URI, and the town of South Kingstown. This summer will be a Math Matters camp for grades 3 through 7. And that will also take place at Broad Rock Middle School. So the learning never stops. Next slide, please. So I wanted to give an update on federal funding that we both have received and are still waiting for. Given where it could go, which I think in most cases people were thinking nothing but down. While it went down a little bit, allocations have gone out for IDEA, Title I Part A and Title IV. On the slide, you'll see what our allocations are compared to last year. We still have Perkins, which is CTE funding. Perkins works on a little bit of a different timeline, so we only have half of that allocation right now. Title II has not been declared. That takes care of professional development for folks. We do expect a substantial decrease if the rumors have held true so far. So we're looking at potentially 50% is what the rumor mill has going. And then Title III, we anticipate the current administration to eliminate Title III, and that is for English language acquisition. So based on the latest on the skinny budget. So that we are still in a holding pattern. The good news is that in terms of IDEA, which is our largest bucket, because that also allocates mainly or helps us with faculty and staff, that slight decrease is good news and something that we should be able to manage. Title II, we shall see, and once we get that, I'll either include that in my weekly report to you or publicly here in the superintendent's report. Please.
Just want to ask real quick, is this is for FY25 or these projections for FY26?
26.
Okay. And so do we have contingencies or ways? I'm sure we're thinking of ways to make up for those losses of the.
They are much to the chagrin, especially in Title II of some of the vendors and contracts and programs that we have signed. We've not signed any contracts for professional development that we've relied on in the past. For Title II, we're withholding, and a lot of people are in that situation. And we'll have to leverage in many cases local, or we'll have to forego some of those partnerships as we just do not have those dollars.
And in the Title I and the IDEA, are those formulaic? Is that just about enrollment, or is that actually a policy change that?
So that is based on that's formulaic and based on student numbers that we submit. These numbers also do not include if there were any unused funds in terms of rollover. Once again, with the current administration, my pessimistic side and unfortunately realistic side says that based on what was done with the ESSER money, where they clawed back what wasn't used, I wouldn't be surprised if any rollover was taken back. But we have not gotten any official word.
And is Title III currently paying for staff?
No, Title III, unfortunately, is currently such a small amount that we have to join a consortium. So any LEA that is allocated Title III funds that is below $10,000, $10,000 must join a consortium. So we're currently in the Southern Consortium with about 6 other districts, some of whom, I believe it used to be 8, some of whom get such little money that they say they spend more time on than the allocation. Okay, next slide, please. So I wanted to get into the equity audit, and my sincere thanks for the robust dialogue over the past 2 meetings, both publicly and individually, as well as with community members and faculty, staff, and administration who have talked to me about what they think would be best for the community and this time of year. I do want to highlight for the community that upon receiving the equity audit, the wanting to have a public forum really stemmed not from, hey, let's get this done, but more, we need to highlight that this is our needs assessment, to highlight that your voices were heard, that you are represented here, and that this does form the foundation of the district moving forward and how we're going to target improvement. And I thought that that was really important because of something that is front and center in the equity audit that, because in the areas for growth was, well, what are the new, basically, I'll summarize for it. What are the new guys doing? I'm not taking that risk, or I'm a little bit nervous to take that risk or to say, because I don't know what the new superintendent or the new building administration. And so I felt it was very important to make sure that they know that we are out here front and center, publicly available to discuss, to hear, to listen, as well as challenge this district to move forward, and that we have a plan, an empathetic plan, a plan that's based on research, a plan that is based on not only student needs and their academic needs, but their social, emotional, and human needs. And that is for the students as well as the educators and parents, and that anybody ultimately who enters the district. And I want to put that out there front and center. And if slings and arrows come on that, then so be it. And let's get started and let's do the work. However, the impression of trying to get things, or the impression that may not have been the impression that was out there. And the equity audit is so robust that I want to make sure that we do give it the time, that people don't think it's being rushed, that it's something that, well, let's just get it over with before the summer and maybe people won't show up. And so we think it's a better strategy now to make sure that what we were going to do the whole time is make sure that it is ubiquitous, make sure that it is everywhere, make sure that it is not a community forum. It is community forums. It is community conversations. It is it helps solidify the why of what we're doing both now and moving forward. So next slide, please. So when we were trying to figure out some things to do and how do we balance this, we actually did turn to the equity audit itself, and on page 42 basically gives us direction of what we should be doing, that we need to determine strategically where we need to start taking action for continuous equity focused improvement, given the practical realities of systems change, which takes time, which again, I sincerely appreciate the committee's knowledge and nod towards this, that it will take time. Culture change takes time. It's not something overnight. SKSD should prioritize actions to take in the immediate term between now and the end of this school year, the short term next school year, and while building a vision for the medium term and the long term. Next slide, please. So after discussion, so we've been in the immediate term, we've promulgated and have brought this to the attention of faculty, staff, community. That we've had leadership teams meetings. It's not just, hey, let's have a meeting to talk about the equity audits. How are we moving forward? Okay, that's a great idea. How is that addressing something in the equity audit? How are we making sure that we're aligned and crosswalking back? The professional development subcommittee, as was alluded to last meeting, and here in the school committee. So the school committee and weekly update, I have a standing item to make sure that you see, or hopefully that I'm communicating in the actions that we're taking, and that they're connected to the equity audit. Feedback, again, the past few meetings, standing item on our agendas, as well as a possible retreat topic from many of those here sitting at the table. Next slide. So when we took some information from all of these stakeholders in the conversations, it was we had this aha moment that it was like, why are we trying to do something special at the end of the year where people might not be able to engage or they might not feel comfortable? And why don't we start, and instead of having the people come to us, why don't we go to where the people are going? And so we've started talking and we've planned it out with our principals. So let's take advantage of when we have the community together already. So we're planning on doing a state of the district in terms of focusing in on the equity audit before school open houses and making sure that we go to every single school and engage the school community in an event that they were already coming to. And so that we can involve those stakeholders. Same thing in terms of school improvement teams. It's not just good enough to have it crosswalked and have the team go there, that they need to, or we need to go out and make sure we're talking to them as well as to the PTG and in the community. We are also planning to make sure that we have this as a ubiquitous, again, topic for the administrative retreat. We also have already, in terms of the needs assessment for the RIDE strategic plan, as well as all of our federal and or grants that may come out as part of the community, will all be linked to this equity audit. Additionally, I do want to say, though, I do want to point out that what we've heard from our stakeholders too is that, well, let's bring people together once you're implementing something so that they can so that those impacted by the change or those that you're looking to affect can have feedback on it, can tell you how it's going, can tell you what you think of that idea. And I believe that was alluded to at our last meeting of, hey, let's get certain families together if you're targeting attendance. Hey, or discipline or targeting let's talk to students. Why are you taking honors or not taking honors or AP? Let's talk to those affected once we make or decide a course of action, or even before we do a course of action. So we want to start with where the voices are and where the people are, and then seek out those who are not represented in those naturally occurring places. Next slide. So we've also started to take those short-term actions. We've already started planning out our orientation day, or the contractual obligations that we have for orientation, as well as the professional development day. I am extremely pleased to let the entire community know that we have an expert coming in from the Rhode Island Autism Project who will be running a 2-hour session for all faculty, staff, and personnel for professional development, exploring autism, a deep dive. We will then go into breakout sessions so that we can talk about what people learned, what our current practices are, and how we can make sure that all our families and all of our students and all of our operations are aligned in making sure that all voices are heard and supported. And then, as we had talked about, we have amazing faculty and staff who ultimately, when they are asked, what do you want? Oftentimes it's time with my colleagues, time to talk about, hey, where'd you come up with that idea? Hey, how did you connect with that student? I've tried everything. So Mr. Seeger and the Professional Development Subcommittee have put the outreach out, and people came back with, and we said that it needed to be grounded in the equity audit. And this is what they came back with. So here are just 3 examples: strategies and supports to make content accessible for all learners, using high leverage practices or HLPs at the elementary levels across content areas, structures and routines for differentiating instruction within a lesson, and student self-assessment practices. So actually it goes back to those federal funding questions of, well, where are we going to get, what are we going to lose? Well, we're not going to pay outsiders for running sessions with these topics. We're going to use our own experts and make sure that the excellence is spreading out. And again, my sincere thanks to those, and there are many more. I believe we we have to cull back a little bit because we want to make sure that people have opportunities to go to some of these sessions, but they are all aligned to the equity audit. So from day one of next school year and throughout this summer, the equity audit is front and center. Next slide, please. And at this time, I will take any feedback or questions you may have.
I'd just like to say thank you. I do appreciate that we kind of slowed down a little bit and we're putting together a comprehensive step forward. And I do appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you. That's very comprehensive. And I just really like the idea of taking the message out into the schools at the open houses and when people are gathering anyway. That's such a great opportunity. And I'm really glad you thought of that. So thanks. I think that's an exciting way of getting what we're doing within the administration out to the families in the community. All right, we're going to move on. Great. Brings us to school committee business B. Oh, you're right. I motion to accept the superintendent report. Thank you.
Can I make a motion to accept the superintendent's report?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Don't want to get ahead. Okay, so school committee business B. Approval of contracts, principal of South Kingstown High School.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract for the principal of South Kingstown High School as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number C, approval of contract assistant principal of South Kingstown High School.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for the assistant principal of South Kingstown High School as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. D, approval of contract, Director of Technology.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract of the Director of Technology as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of contract, Network Systems Administrator.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract for the network systems administrator as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. And the approval of contract data quality manager.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for the data quality manager as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That brings us to item G, approval of contract with Council 94.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for Council 94 as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. So discussion, number H, discussion action, South Kingstown School District fiscal year 25-26 capital improvement program revision. Number 2. I'm going to ask the superintendent to explain what the revision 2 is.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me find that so, thank you. In your memo, as prepared before his departure, Mr. Kilpatrick is putting forward, and I suggest accepting this capital improvement program, where essentially would be using an additional $500,000 to replace the lower roof at Broad Rock Middle School. The entire roof does need to get done. However, that is the most pressing need. And additionally, we would be putting that into future capital improvement plans. We are currently looking before he left, at not spending as much out of our fund balance in FY 25. So while we're still using substantial dollars in FY 25 out of fund balance, we are not using as much. And so Mr. Kilpatrick believes that we can essentially those funds that were allocated this year in fund balance that will not be used, that it would be the best use to continue to use that towards capital improvement. And that is the change to the capital improvement program that is before you tonight. I would like to highlight though to the community out there in Broad Rock that this is not a safety issue. There is no this is just something that the roof has reached end of life and has, whether it be the temperature changes or the conditions for one reason or another, but ultimately that roof in general is close to end of life, and we would like to pursue the lower section getting repaired. We also have HVAC work that's being done at Broad Rock this summer too, and so we're thinking, let's make sure that we get those units in and make sure that that's being done on the old on the old roof rather than the new roof being repaired. So that's another reason why you don't see an entire roof before you on this capital improvement plan.
Can I ask what, after this addition and then what we've budgeted to use from the fund balance in 26, what at the end of 26 we expect our fund balance to be? That, I know we're a little fuzzy on what we're going to end up with 25, but it's all one fund.
I can have it for you next meeting. I'd hate to over or underestimate,
Okay.
especially if we're going to be looking to go back to the council. I can put that publicly next meeting, or I can get that to you.
That's my, because I think we're dipping into it now for operational uses, and concerns me that it puts us in a bind for the following fiscal year. I mean, I don't know that we have a choice to replace the roof or not, but just the use of that fund starts looking challenging after some time.
Absolutely. And I think that's, that in FY 26, how much we have, I'm comfortable bringing this forward because again, in FY 25, we had planned to use some fund balance that we do not anticipate using as such. That was budgeted for this school year, so we didn't expect to have it, and we were expecting to expend it. We are not, and as such, putting it towards capital is money. It was money that was going to be expended.
And then my only other comment is that I think this will be additional funds that end up going to the town.
Yes.
In reimbursement, and we could ask them to at least return that to us to help subsidize this fund. And I'm not sure what rate that gets, do you know? Kate? So that's 35%. Would that?
I may be misspeaking because we'll want to make sure if that was part of the bond criteria.
The Broad Rock roof is on that.
All right, so then that's at the 55% reimbursement.
So I think it's reasonable for us to make that request to the town. They're going to get a gift of $250,000 from RIDE, and I think it's reasonable for us to say it's really money that we spent, and it's not part of the bond, not money that they're laying out.
Absolutely.
Worth the conversation.
I just wanted to echo Mr. Shear's comments about seeing that fund balance, just to know where the numbers are. I know we're not solid on the end of FY 25 on what's going to be left over, but it'd be nice to have those numbers and where this ends up leaving us at the end of FY 26.
Can I have ask a clarifying question about this process though? Is this immediate, like, should we table this to our next meeting, or does this decision need to be made tonight so that we can move on getting this done? What would you prefer?
The roof needs to get done. And so the earlier we can, check the vendors from the list. We're a little behind as is, and I would like to get this done over the course of the summer rather than while school is in session. But committee's choice, it's not irreversible if we didn't. Again, I would just say that we are not accruing as large of a deficit on this year's in FY 25 on our current fund balance before we even take this year's fund balance and put it towards FY 26.
And just to be
So-
clear, I do appreciate the need to get this done, so I think we would, I would go for it anyway. I just wanted to know those numbers so we know where we're sitting. We're going into conversations next year.
So I have a lot of trust and faith in Ryan's numbers and calculations that he says that we're able to do this without hurting ourselves. But I think an analysis of the fund balance after we take this 500 is needed. I don't think it should delay a vote, but we do need to see the numbers. And I just want to ask a clarifying question. So we are adding this to our CIP plan for next year, and we're not taking anything out. So just the addition of the 500,000, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
I have a clarifying question also. Kind of looking under the covers a little bit about this 500,000, but there's also electrical fixtures and other internal structures. So does that 500,000 include those things as well, or just the roof?
I believe this is just the roof, and that those electrical fixtures have, when they've been damaged, they've been replaced and they've been fixed. And so this
So
is to
those are
stop it
already
from
done.
happening. That's to stop it from happening. again.
Got it. The other thing is wondering, as we look at who we end up giving the contract to, since we're anticipating that we need the rest of the roof done, if there's a way to, in quote, negotiate something about that roof, doing that roof as well in relation to giving the contract at this time.
So I believe that at this time, we would need to, we would need to go out to bid on those pieces, which would take up, in some cases, take up that time. We do have the master price agreement in terms of the statewide master price agreement that we would be looking to in order to, expedite this process. How involved, once we're utilizing the master price agreement, to then come into terms on something that hasn't gone out to bid or hasn't been formally. I need to look into it.
Great, thank you.
I do have one final question. On the bottom of the document, grand total is 1,156,007. But then grand total requests is 1,642,215. Just curious why there's those two numbers there. What they're. Oh, so this is just, okay, so the part that's 1.1 is the roofing and facilities. And the delta between that and the 1.6 is the technology.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah, and I want to make sure that I double back to Chair Vetter's question. So on the first part, previously, when we dealt with the capital improvement, we have the technology piece as well as the building piece, and we took care of that, I believe, October, November, in terms of making sure that went before, because we have to get that to the town council. Then it came up again in our draft budget, and as something that had been already allocated, that we had put a gavel down on, and this is ultimately asking you to add to that number. So, Chair Vetter, I want to make sure that that I understood that because we are using fund balance for operational expenses next year, and this would be an additional $500,000 from that we would be putting towards granted capital project, but it is not just $500,000 from FY 26. It would be an additional $500,000 from fund balance.
I think it would be helpful to do a 5-year plan again. We had it in the past and then we could see, well, we had anticipated this 2 years out, but we're gonna have to move it up, just so we kind of have an idea. But that's a larger discussion. I appreciate that we have to do this repair now. If there's no other questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the SKSD fiscal year 2025-2026 capital improvement program revision 2 as presented.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. For the record, Mr. Shearer had stepped out and was not part of the vote. Okay, that will bring us to I, discussion action on the Augusta Hazard Scholarship update. And Michelle?
so Mr. Lander and I met. And Mr. Shear also, and reviewed the scholarships which we received anonymously with the names and other personal information blacked out, and chose the recipients of this year's Augusta Hazard scholarships due to the fact that not one of the three of us was in town on the night of Honors Night. I'd like to express my gratitude to Chair Vetter for going to Honors Night and presenting those scholarships. And I believe, Ms. Vetter, you have the list of names.
So I didn't get a copy of the list of names. Terry, do you have it currently?
Do I have it?
They were
We'll
blacked
see.
out as we made the
Yeah,
decision.
So on June 4th, they had the awards night at the high school. It's like over, I think 65 scholarships are given that night, plus all the CTE programs, and all the other acknowledgements, National Honor Society, I'm sorry, National Merit Scholars. It's just a wonderful, wonderful ceremony. And I think there was about 7 names that were given to the Augusta Hazard Scholarship. So. To mine or to Michelle's? There it is, got it. It didn't come through on the email. Yes, okay. Right. So we would like to congratulate Sophie Alberino, Abigail Babugian, Talia Fuller, Matilda Sofiantino, Nolan Urian, Emma Walsh, and Hope Holy. So congratulations to those members of the class of 2025 and the recipients of the Augusta Hazard Scholarship. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Terry. So that, brings us to J, discussion action, legislative liaison updates, current initiatives before the House and Senate related to public education. I'll ask Michelle if she has anything to update us.
So, the first thing I would like to say, it all of a sudden dawned on me that I never brought it to the attention of the full school committee that to make sure that everyone was receiving those weekly updates from Mr. Duffy. The session will be over in 20 days, and so I'm a little late to the party here asking that, but if you're not getting that information, if you let me know, I will make sure that you do in the future. The cell phone bill that we discussed, sent a resolution, had the representatives here at the high school for a discussion, and Dr. McGare went and gave testimony on is coming to the full house sometime this week. The other one that is in both the House and the Senate is a new bill that is requiring cameras on the exterior of all public school buses in the state. So they can take pictures of vehicles, license plates of people that are not stopping when the bus's lights are flashing. So that one is in discussion. The Senate bill is Senate 568, S 568. And the House bill is House 5421.
I don't know if you know this information about that bill, but who would be responsible for supplying those cameras? Would it be the bus company? Because I would hate to have another unfunded mandate thrown in our direction.
I think it's just coming under discussion. And I do think that I really don't want to see another unfunded mandate. I could contact our reps this week if the committee would like that, and explain to them that although the safety issue, I mean, this is my opinion, I'm asking if the rest of the committee agrees with me, the safety issue is important. None of us want another unfunded mandate. So if the committee so desires, I will contact our reps and senators this week.
It'd be good to know that information, but as I asked that question, I also realized even if the bus company pays for it, that cost is probably gonna be passed on to us
There you
anyway,
go.
so. It's an unfunded mandate, whichever way you look at it, indirect or direct.
Exactly. We're gonna end up paying for it one way or the other. That's my report.
Thank you, Michelle. So we have the school building committee update, which we just had a joint session last night. So do you have anything else, Kate?
The only other update I would give is that our next school building committee meeting is scheduled for the end of June because it would have fallen on Juneteenth, so we bumped it out to I want to make sure that I'm giving the right date. I think it's the 26th. 26th, and we are switching to morning meetings for the summertime for the convenience of everybody on the building committee. So it will be June 26th, and I'm trying to determine if it's 8 or 8:30. I can't remember which one we all agreed on. And so I will get that confirmation. But other than that, just exciting as we all were there last night. We made it our next hurdle. Check mark for design development has been approved by the town council and the school committee. And it will be submitted to RIDE tomorrow. So very exciting. Next step. Yay, team. Thank you all.
Excellent work getting us to this point, by this, even this whole school building committee. I know it's a long slog and we're getting there, and I think it's a good step.
Yes, it is moving forward. I can't wait to see shovels in the ground. So a couple more months, right?
You
Very
will need to
exciting.
let us know when that is, because I'll be there with bells on.
I was already very much like, mine's the first shovel. I'm like, I'm just going to show up there one day with a shovel. kidding. But no, I will make sure that we all will get to be there, and when big smiles on the face, can't wait to do it.
Super exciting. Okay, moving on. Policy, new policy, medical marijuana. Take it away, James.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll address these policies kind of peripherally because I was actually not able to attend the subcommittee meeting where these were voted on to bring to the committee for first read. I will tell you what I do know of some of these. The medical marijuana policy, I believe it is a state law that we have something on the books for this. We do already have a medication policy, so this would be in addition to that medication policy, specifically around the administration of medical marijuana when it's prescribed as a medication for students in the district and they're unable to take it outside of the school hours, outside of school property. So it's basically putting guidelines around that administration of it for students who get it prescribed to them as part of their medical treatment. So I don't know if Mr. Pedraza wants to add anything to that as far as that goes. But that's my understanding where it came from and why we need to consider it this evening. It is a law given down to us from the state.
That's correct. And I'd just like to thank District Nurse Coordinator Sharon Pine, who brought that to our attention, that when she was taking a look at our standing orders as well as our policies prior to retiring, she noticed that was missing and brought that to our attention, and now it is before you.
Question I have is, and which I'm assuming you are doing, is I'm assuming it has gone before our legal team and all I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Yes, that is correct. The legal did review this ahead of tonight's meeting. I think it's a templated policy essentially. So we're just basically taking out X district and putting in South Kingstown district, and really substance of it is driven by state law. So there is not a lot of room for making adjustments or changing how this needs to be in our books.
I did verify the citations, make sure that everything was accurate as far as like what laws were being referred to, and made some other small.
But as we've done before, this is a first read, so it's for open for any feedback from the committee, and we'll bring it back at the next regular meeting for a second read and a potential approval.
I just think that just shows the work that Sharon Pine did for our district, and we're very grateful for her time here in the district and wish her wonderful, great retirement. So that was the first read, so it will come back for a second read. And we can move on to the new policy, professional conduct with students, also first read.
This is another one, also first read, that was brought forward from the most recent policy subcommittee meeting. I think Mr. Pedraza will be able to talk this a little more, or if other members of the subcommittee who are there can speak to it a little more in depth. But this is more around how our staff interact and administrators interact with our student population, just putting some guidelines around that, some things we might not have had in place. And I think part of this is bringing in some lessons learned from other districts on the risks of not having something like this on our books. I know we do have it touches on some other policies we have, but I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Pedraza, or if Ms. Whitford or Mr. Lander want to speak to this if they were at that meeting. I think Ms. Whitford, you were not there either. Yeah, if Mr. Lander, if you have anything to add to that, or Mr. Pedraza.
Yeah, well, first, I just want to thank Kittery for Collins for helping conduct the meeting that night and taking over chairmanship. I think it was her first effort at that, and she did a great job. So kudos to you. Did it in a professional manner. Also, thanks to Mr. Pedraza for helping bring a synopsis quite a number of different towns' policies so that we can get an idea of what's going on in other areas relative specifically to the school district professional conduct with students. We did have a pretty robust conversation, actually, and it took up most of the evening to the point where we started really striking things out, putting some things in, wordsmithing. People had some different concerns that came from different parts of the community or educational parts that really gave us a different look and insight to how to, bring this forward to the committee. So we didn't actually set anything. It's a first read, and there's more work to do on this. Mr. Pedraza?
Yep, so thank you. All of those are correct. Ultimately, this policy does take a blend from from 4 communities' existing policies. East Greenwich Code of Conduct, Barrington Professional Conduct with Students, East Greenwich Professional Conduct with Students, Bristol Warren Professional Code of Conduct with Students, and Smithfield Professional Code of Conduct with Students. And what we tried to do with this policy is make sure that there are certain boundaries and certain guidelines that are universal and that we expect regardless of the time of year, that we expect regardless of the age of the student, and regardless of the circumstance. It is not a fun policy to do. However, it is one that when we get into, if we're going to start with safe and then work our way to engaged and future focused, that level of safety, both for students and for faculty as well, and staff. And that there are clear communications protocols, that there are clear behavior guidelines and lines that cannot be crossed, even if they are deemed to be, even if they are legal. That these are lines that we do not expect those that we trust with our students and that we trust with colleagues and one another, behaviors that we support. And so to make those clear from day one, this is a type of policy that would go into the employee handbook or would also be part of orientation for any new employee, to make sure that there are clear protocols, as well as with a policy that would be reviewed with all faculty and staff so that we can make sure that, are there any questions? What are the reporting mechanisms? What should I do? Oh my gosh, this seems so clear. I never knew what to do about X, Y, and Z. And it also provides, again, that level of protection for our teachers, faculty, staff, and administrators, with a clear protocol of what to do. And so it is before you this evening.
Yeah, in addition, I think we also spoke to the idea of any volunteers, vendors, or anybody interacting with our students to help both protect the students as well as the people who are interacting during whatever activity it is that they're interacting with our student body.
Yep. And the one last piece would be that it would be at any time, in any capacity, not just while it's in season or not just while school is in session, that this code of conduct extends essentially throughout the relationship with students, and keeps it at that professional level, regardless of the role, time of year, or state law.
And since there was one other part that as a follow-up on how to interact or discuss with the SRO on board, to get them on board with the policy, right, in terms of a memo of understanding with the police department. So that is a follow-up from that meeting. A lot.
Any questions about the policy on this first read?
I don't have any questions. I just am excited to see it. I think it's great. And I think anybody who is a professional will respect the fact that it's on our books. Every interaction that I have in the professional world, we all have professional code of conducts for ourselves. And I think it's just beautiful to be able to codify that it is a protection for our students and our adults. And I think it's great, and I look forward to seeing it come through. And yes, it may need refinement after our second read, but it's a living it can be a living document going forward, but I think it's awesome to put it on the books. So thank you all.
One last piece that on both policies, both have been reviewed by council, as that was part of the motion from the policy subcommittee that it go to council first and then come to this body. So.
All right, so it's a first read and it will be coming back for a second read. So do you want them to follow up with you if they have suggestions in the meantime?
Yeah, if there are any suggestions, I would, follow up with myself, Ms. Whitford and Mr. Lander, as well as Mr. Pedraza, to address any concerns you might have with this policy, anything we can incorporate into it. And we can, if we get robust feedback, we can put it on our next policy subcommittee agenda to discuss it. If we need to, if it's mostly fine, I mean, it just depends on what level of response we get. If you want to take this home, read about it and get back to us with any suggestions, comments, take a measure of how much revision there might be needed, and then we can determine at that point whether we put it as a second read in our next June meeting, or if we need to put it on hold until the fall. Hopefully not, but we'll open to everyone on the committee to provide their feedback.
Great. That brings us to the end of our agenda.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:34.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.